there is this hadith which is well known between all the Shias and Sunnis. The Holy Prophet said, I'm leaving behind two weighty things. Inni tarikun fikum thaqlain. What are the two weighty things that the Holy Prophet left behind? Kitab Allahi wa itrati ahla bayti. The Sunnis always argue that the Holy Prophet said, I'm leaving behind Quran and my Sunnah. Now, I have given references here from Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, Jalaluddin Suyuti's Tafsir, Naysaburi, Musaddarak, and all the others. None of the major Sunni books have the words, I'm leaving behind Kitab and Sunnah. None of the Sunni major works. Out of the 6 books, Sahih Sitta, none of them. And this is a challenge that one of our ulama gave to the Sunnis recently, last year in Pakistan in a debate, and they could not, they said, there may be hundreds. So he said, I'm giving you a week, come back next week and then we'll argue on it. And they could not bring a single reference. Since then, I have had many debates and I have given that as a challenge to many of the Sunni brothers, that if you say that the Holy Prophet said, I'm leaving behind the Quran and my practice, then just give me one reference from your major books. Not ours, just yours. I'll accept it. And they couldn't bring it. So in none of the Sunni major books it says that I'm leaving behind Quran and Sunnah. In all of the Sunni major books, it says I'm leaving behind Quran and my progeny, my Ahlul Bayt. Okay? So you can use that against anyone who's saying that no, it is, Ahlul Bayt are not important. No. The Holy Prophet said they are parallel to the Holy Quran. Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Now again, this is a major proof. If you can prove that the Holy Prophet said Quran and Ahlul Bayt, then they have no argument against you to use the Ahlul Bayt. Again, because I'm just going to try and rush, and I'll take any comments or any questions in between. Now, this other argument on the next point. The Holy Prophet has said in, again, Kitab al-Hakam, Sahih Bukhari, in Muslim, in Abu Dawud, Sunan Abu Dawud, and Jami Tirmidhi. From 6 of the major books, 4 of the Sunni major books have said that the Holy Prophet said that after me will be 12 khulafa. How many? How many do the Sunnis believe in? Khulafa Rashidin, they say are? 4 or 5? 4. Okay? Now they say Khulafa Rashidin are 4. But none of their books have actually, none of the verses of the Holy Quran and none of the Sunni traditional books ever have said anything onto 4. So if they say Khulafa Rashidin are 4, they should just bring one hadith on it from the Holy Prophet. I'll become a Sunni that day. Which they will never be able to do. Otherwise, I'm not that dumb to convert to Sunnis and leave Ahlul Bayt. But it's a challenge for them to think.
Even this Khulafa Rashidin terminology came way after.
Even our traditions have it sometimes that if you mean Rashidin, the ones who have guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then who is it other than the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, the 12 Imams? But you can argue that show us 4 khulafa from your own books, the word 4. The Quran says, Isna ashara naqiban. Musa had 12. Isa had 12 successors. Fanfajarat min huthnata ashara aynan. 12 fountains. The word 12 has appeared so many different places in the Holy Quran, praising and talking about it. Inna iddatu shuhuri indallahi ithna ashara shahran. Indeed, the number of months before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yawma khalaqa samawati wal ard. The day He created the heavens and the earth, He made 12. So that 12 is very important. And none of the Sunnis can actually prove that it has come to be 4. So you can actually argue that. Second point, that all of them are from Quraysh. All of them are from Bani Hashim. What about some of the other Khulafa? Uthman, if they argue that is from Banu Umayyah, and if Banu Umayyah, meaning Umayyah, his great-grandfather, was a twin brother of Bani Hashim, if they can prove that, which they can't. Recent years, our ulama have proven that they were not twin brothers. They have argued that they were Hazrat Hashim's foot was stuck to Umayyah's head and they cut it off and they had a lot of bleeding, and the people in their time said that there will be a lot of bloodshed between the two progenies, Bani Hashim and Banu Umayyah. Umayyah was a slave that was brought by Hashim from Damascus. So Banu Umayyah are not Qurayshi. Even if they say that yes, they are, fine, we don't want to go into it. But what about the first two Khulafa? They were not Qurayshi. Therefore, there should be 12 and they should be all from Bani Hashim or Quraysh. Okay, this is from again, from 6 of the major books, 4 books have this hadith. So you can use that. Remember all of these and make notes on these. Ithna Ashara Amir, and the Holy Prophet in Sahih Bukhari says there will be 12 Amirs, leaders. And in Sahih Muslim, there are 7 traditions on the same subject, and it says Ithna Ashara Khalifa, there will be 12 Khulafa. So that word has come. Now, the last argument and the most important one. Not only that the Imam has to be infallible, not only that his Imamat is universal, but the most important point is about their knowledge. They have to be the most knowledgeable. They have to have complete knowledge of the book, which none of the Sunnis claim that the first 3 Khulafa had. They all admit that Imam Ali al-Islam was the most learned. Some of them argue that, so what, Imam Ali was the most learned? He was the youngest and he became the last Khalifa out of the 4. Our point is, it is against the hikmat, wisdom and justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we have justice in Usul al-Din. It is against the adl, justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to give priority to someone who is less worthy over someone who is more worthy. It is against the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say, no, Imam Ali was younger, and they give absurd arguments to prove that, okay. When Abu Bakr was asked by his own father, Abu Quhafa, he said, why did the people give you Khilafat? You don't have knowledge, you are not brave, you've run away from so many battles, you don't have any of the qualities. On what basis have they given you Khilafat? So he said, because I was the oldest. He said, then well, I should get the Khilafat because I'm your dad. I'm older than you. If that was the basis, if age is the basis of Khilafat, then I deserve it. So age is not the basis of Khilafat. There can be anyone who is older. That's why we don't say insaf. Everyone paying attention? There are 2 words in Arabic, adl and insaf. In Urdu we use them, adalat and insaf. Insaf is from nisf, half. 2 people are fighting over this book. You rip it in half and you say, okay, you can have half and you can have. This is insaf, but this is not adl. Adl is to give it to the one who deserves it. We argue that no. The Sunnis say that, okay, look, Imam Ali got it not in the first position but at the 4th position. We say, no, that's not adl. Adalat is that the one who deserves it should get it at first. Not that he got it at the 4th position, so he got it. So he got the adl. No, it's not insaf, it is adl that we talk about. The most important thing is knowledge. We have tens of references where the Khulafa have come to Imam Ali alayhi salam, especially the second Khalifa, who has said 70 different places, Lawla Aliyun la halaka Umar. If it wasn't for Ali, then Umar would have been destroyed. I'll just mention 1 or 2 incidents. Where once a woman was going to be punished was going to be stoned to death. Imam Ali said that she is expecting and you have to wait for her to give birth because she was at fault, not her child. Then the Quran says that she has to look after him for the first 2 years. So you cannot punish her until she gives birth and looks after her son or her daughter for 2 years. That's when she will be stoned to death, and not before that. So he said, Lawla Aliyun la halaka Umar. If it wasn't for Ali, then I would have been destroyed. I would have killed a woman with a child. Then in another place he said, Ya Ali, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I don't see the day when I'm alive and you are not. Because I cannot face all of these problems. And yet, he still said, well, I deserve the Khilafah. You can't have it because I'm older than you. Or I've taken it. There are many, many different arguments here, but I would have you ask questions. Imam Ali al-Islam said, you know that the Holy Prophet told me not to fight. Otherwise, I would have killed all of you. He told them, when they had come to his house and burned down the door, he threw Umar down on the floor and stepped on his chest and said, you know the orders of the Holy Prophet. Had he not told me not to fight after him, I would have killed you here at this point. Then he let him go. As soon as he let him go, he said, we know he won't fight. So they placed a rope in his neck and they dragged him in the street because they knew he will not fight back. The Holy Prophet said, if you fight back, then everyone will become a kafir. Why do we need Muslims like that? But the Holy Prophet said, no, in their progeny, in their generations, there will be many true Muslims. Many will convert. And that's what happened. People started converting later on. But they were the first generation and they were not believing.